Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani is the 8th and current Emir of the State of Qatar. He is the 4th son of the previous Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani. He became Emir of Qatar on the 25th of June 2013 after his father's abdication. Sheikh Tamim has held a variety of government posts within Qatar and also worked to promote numerous sporting events within the country. As of 2013, Tamim is the youngest reigning monarch among the GCC countries and the youngest current sovereign worldwide. Early life and education. Tamim bin Hamad was born on 3 June 1980 in Doha, Qatar. He is the 4th son of Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, and 2nd son of Sheikh Moza bint Nasra Al Misnad, Hamad's second wife. Tamim was educated at Great Britain's Sherborne School in Dorset, and at Harrow School, where he received his A-levels in 1997. He then attended the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, graduating in 1998. Career. Sheikh Tamim was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Qatar Armed Forces upon graduation from Sandhurst. He became the heir apparent to the Qatar throne on 5 August 2003, when his elder brother Sheikh Jassim renounced his claim to the title. Since then he was groomed to take over rule, working in top security and economics posts. In 2009, he was appointed Deputy Commander-in-Chief of Qatar's Armed Forces. Sheikh Tamim promoted sport as part of Qatar's bid to raise its international profile. In 2005 he founded Qatar Sport Investments, which owns Paris Saint-Germain FC among other investments. In 2006, he chaired the organizing committee of the 15th Asian Games in Doha. Under his leadership, all member countries attended the event for the first time in its history. That year Egypt's Al Ahram voted Tamim the best sport personality in the Arab world. Under his guidance, Qatar won the rights to host the 2014 FINA Swimming World Championships and the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Tamim is a member of the International Olympic Committee and the National Olympic Committee chairman. He headed Doha's bid for the 2020 Olympics. The country will host the Football World Cup in 2022. Qatar is expected to spend about $100 billion on infrastructure to prepare for the event. Sheikh Tamim heads the Qatar Investment Authority Board of Directors. Under his leadership, the fund has invested billions in British businesses. It owns large stakes in Barclays Bank, Sainsbury's, and Harrods. The fund also owns a share of Europe's 4th tallest building, the Shard. Tamim has also held a number of other posts including head of the Upper Council of the Environment and Natural Sanctuaries, chairman of the Supreme Council for the Environment and Natural Reserves, Chairman of the Supreme Education Council, Chairman of the Supreme Council of Information and Communication Technology, Chairman of the Board of Directors of Public Works Authority and the Urban Planning and Development Authority, Chairman of the Board of Regents of Qatar University, Deputy Chairman of the Ruling Family Council, Vice President of the Supreme Council for Economic Affairs and Investment, Deputy Chairman of the High Committee for Coordination and Follow-up, Member of Sports for All. Reign on 25 June 2013, the then Emir of Qatar and Tamim's father Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani revealed his plans to step down as Emir in a meeting with his close relatives and aides. Tamim then became the Emir of Qatar after his father handed over power in a televised speech. He was the first ruler in a succession of 3 Qatari rulers from the Al Thani family to ascend to power without resorting to a coup. According to The Economist, of his previous sibling rivals to the throne, one played too much, the other prayed too much. The transition of power was expected to be smooth, as family members hold many of the nation's top posts. Moreover, according to a diplomatic source close to the Al Thani family, Sheikh Tamim has a strong personality that allowed him to establish himself within the ruling family, despite not being the family's first choice for Emir. Diplomats quoted by the BBC argued that Jassim, who served as Crown Prince for 8 years, had hoped to expand his political powers. According to a report by Stratfor, Jassim had no allies among the military forces of secret police at the time of the 2013 political transition, and thereby few chances to overturn Hamad's decree. Tamim is described as friendly, confident, and open by those who know him. He is also described as savvy, careful, and calculating. In addition, he is considered to be a pragmatist, and to have excellent relations with the West, including the United States and France. Political analysts expect Tamim to be more conservative and risk-averse than his father. Preserving a national identity grounded in traditional values is expected to be Tamim's first priority. Domestic policy, in striking contrast with his father's rule, who had prioritized Qatar's international profile. A new focus on domestic affairs has characterized Tamim's government so far. One of Tamim's first moves after coming to power was to streamline the bureaucracy by disassembling a number of parallel institutions, such as the Qatar National Food Security Program, which was incorporated into the Ministries of Economy and Agriculture. He also decreased the fiscal budget of several institutions, including Qatar Foundation and Qatar Museums Authority. Since his accession to power, the government has expanded the roads around the capital, developed a new metro system, and completed the construction of a new airport. A new reform of the Qatari administration was launched towards increased efficiency and discipline. Moreover, the foreign minister post has passed to a non-royal. This is a significant change in the direction of meritocracy, given that during the previous administrations the prime minister, traditionally a royal, tended to double as foreign minister. Tamim also took credit for some initiatives directed at countering local sensitivities arising from the Arab Spring upheaval. He announced that the government would establish a directive to lower the price of foodstuffs sold by companies working with the country's national food security program and anticipated social allowances and pension increases. According to his inaugural speech to the nation held on the 26th of June 2013, Sheikh Tamim will continue to diversify the country's economy away from hydrocarbons. On that occasion, he declared that people are Qatar's most important asset, and that their interests would be the government's top priority. In 2014, Tamim passed new cybercrime legislation, which was said to be part of an agreement among Gulf states to criminalize online insults of the region's royal families. The cybercrime law outlaws the spreading of false news, as well as digital material that violates the country's social values or general order. The legislation made it illegal to incite, aid and facilitate the publication of offensive material. The law has been criticized by those who say that it can be used to strip people of their human rights based on the misinterpretation of online chatter. Amnesty International called the law a major setback for freedom of expression in Qatar, while other critics suggest that the new law will violate provisions of the country's constitution that protect civil liberties. In January 2016, Tamim shook up the cabinet put in place by his father. He named a new foreign minister, replacing Khalid al-Attar with Hamad bin Abdul-Rahman Al Thani, changed the defense minister and appointed a new female minister. Tamim also merged several ministries, including communication, transport and culture, and youth and sports. Journalists have speculated reasons behind the cabinet shakeup, and many have come to the conclusion that the reorganization was either an economic move, meant to save the country money at a time where the falling price of gas has forced the country to scale back its workforce for reasons of political stability. According to others, the appointments show that the Emir, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, is trying to make the government his own by bringing in a new, younger generation of ministers that are more loyal to him than to his father. Foreign policy. The young emir's transition to power was welcomed by leaders across the world, who expected Tamim to continue the good work in the footsteps of his father and increase Qatar's role in vital international affairs, including the Syrian crisis and Darfur agreement. Analysts said he would likely be under immediate pressure to reduce Qatar's support for the rebels in the Syrian civil war, which Tamim had previously supported. He would be tasked with overseeing substantial upgrades to the national infrastructure, which have recently gotten underway. While some view Tamim as more religious than his father, most analysts expect him to retain his father's largely pragmatic habits of governing, using Islam to further objectives where useful, but not pushing strictly Islamic agenda items such as outlawing alcohol. In his inaugural speech to the nation, Tamim vowed that he would continue to pursue a central role for Qatar in the region, but that he will not take direction in foreign affairs. He confirmed that he will commit to the highest possible level of integration with his Gulf neighbors. In fact, during his first months in charge, he has prioritized the Gulf. In late October 2013, only a few months after taking charge, Sheikh Tamim took a regional tour of the Gulf. Even before his accession to power, he formally represented his father at the annual Gulf Cooperation Council Summit in Bahrain in December 2012, as well as in welcoming delegates to the Arab League Summit in Doha in March 2013. Working in a government security post, he promoted stronger ties with Saudi Arabia, a neighbor and often contentious rival to Qatar. Tamim considers Qatar's rivalry with Saudi Arabia unproductive, as has been the case in the so far unsuccessful attempt to build a cohesive Syrian opposition. In October 2014, Sheikh Tamim met UK Prime Minister David Cameron and Queen Elizabeth II on his first official visit to the UK. Qatar and the UK anticipated a Qatari-British Economic Forum to explore mutual investment opportunities. Up to and during this meeting, the Telegraph newspaper launched a campaign to urge Cameron to discuss Qatar's funding of Islamic extremists with Tamim. The Telegraph's Stop the Funding of Terror campaign highlighted the role played by Qatar and other Gulf states, alleged allies in the war against ISIL and Al-Qaeda, in allowing the financing of terrorism. Stephen Barclay, the Tory MP, repeatedly called for transparency in Britain's dealings with Qatar and said it was essential for Mr. Cameron to raise the issue of terror finance. "I welcome the fact that the Prime Minister is meeting with the Emir," he said. "As part of these discussions, it is essential that the issue of financing Sunni tribes in Syria and Iraq is raised." The MP encouraged Cameron to brief Parliament after the meeting, claiming that there is clear evidence that Qatari nationals have been instrumental in the financing of Sunni terror groups, and the Prime Minister should not avoid tackling this issue head-on with the Emir. On the 25th of March 2015, Sheikh Tamim came to India and met Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said that the government trusts the Indian economy, so they would invest in India. Qatar has heavily invested in loans and aids to Egypt during the Muslim Brotherhood's government. In August 2013, Qatar joined the US-led attempt to mediate the escalating tension between the Muslim Brotherhood and the military. Speaking at Georgetown University during his first visit to the United States, Tamim reiterated that Qatar will not interfere in Egypt, although he condemned what happened in Egypt after the 2013 uprising. Since Mohamed Morsi's removal from office, the new government has turned down Qatari offers for financial aid. Qatar's continued support for the Muslim Brotherhood resulted in a diplomatic rift between Doha and Saudi Arabia, Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates in 2014, culminating in the withdrawal of the latter three countries' ambassadors in March of that year. Syria. Qatar called for a military intervention of the Arab countries to end the bloodshed in Syria in 2012. Analysts expected that he would have been under immediate pressure to reduce Qatar's support for the rebels in the Syrian civil war, which Tamim had previously supported. In fact, Sheikh Tamim took a step back after taking charge, primarily in response to the irritation voiced by Western powers at Qatar's operation to arm Syrian rebel groups which had been directed haphazardly. Recently, under the aegis of a joint initiative with Saudi Arabia and Turkey promoted by Sheikh Tamim, Qatar has provided Syrian rebels with new weapons and forged a new opposition coalition in Syria known as Army of Conquest. Quote, "The Sheikh has also renewed his country's support for the Syrian people's demands for justice and freedom during a meeting with the chief of the Syrian National Coalition Khalid Kolya and his delegation in April 2015. Turkey. Tamim signed a military cooperation agreement with Turkey during an official visit to the country in December 2014. The agreement aims to promote cooperation in military training and the defense industry, and allows for the deployment of the Turkish armed forces to Qatar and the Qatari military to Turkey. On the 2nd of December 2015, Tamim signed a number of agreements with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Cooperative agreements in education, maritime transport and correspondence pacts between intelligence agencies were signed. An agreement was also reached by Turkey to purchase liquefied natural gas from Qatar over a lengthy duration. The two leaders also announced the planned creation of a Turkish military base in Qatar, a first for Turkey in the Persian Gulf. United States. In July 2014, Tamim renewed the defense agreement with the U.S. and confirmed Qatar's cooperation with the United States in the Combined Air Operations Center at Al Udeid Air Base. Sheikh Tamim visited with U.S. President Barack Obama at the White House on a visit to Washington, D.C. on the 24th of February 2015, according to a statement issued by the Office of the White House Press Secretary. Doha-based analysts described the task before him during the visit as one of balancing the need to maintain strong relations with the United States, against the desire for Qatar to control its own foreign policy, which is sometimes at odds with the United States on key regional issues. He declared that the U.S.-Qatari strategic partnership has deepened in recent years, in spite of the regional unrest, and reiterated his commitment to support a more comprehensive approach to the strategic challenges facing the Middle East. Personal characteristics and views. According to a diplomatic source close to the Al Thani family, Sheikh Tamim has a strong personality that allowed him to establish himself within the ruling family. Despite not being the family's first choice for Emir, he is described as friendly, confident, and open by those who know him. He is also described as savvy, careful, and calculating. In addition, he is considered to be a pragmatist, and to have excellent relations with the West, including the United States and France. Political analysts expect Tamim to be more conservative and risk-averse than his father, because Tamim is very close to the Muslim Brotherhood. Preserving a national identity grounded in traditional values is expected to be Tamim's first priority. Personal life. On the 8th of January 2005, Sheikh Tamim married his first cousin Sheikh of Jawahir bint Hamad bin Suhaim Al Thani, daughter of Sheikh Hamad bin Suhaim Al Thani. They have 2 sons and 2 daughters. Sheikha Al Maysa bint Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. He Sheikh Hamad bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. He Sheikh Aisha bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. He Sheikh Jassim bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. Sheikh Tamim has a second wife, Sheikha Anud bint Mana al-Hajri, whom he married on 3 March 2009. She is the daughter of Mana bin Abdul Hadi al-Hajri, sometime Qatari ambassador to Jordan. They have 3 children, 2 daughters and a son, Sheikh Naila bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Sheikh Abdullah bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Sheikh Arada bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. Sheikh Tamim also has a third wife, Sheikh Noura bint Hadal al-Dosari, whom he married in March 2014. They have 1 son, Sheikh Joan bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. Tamim participates in competitive sport. He was filmed playing badminton and bowled with former Egyptian military chief Mohammed Hussein Tantawi. He has a strong interest in history and his nation's heritage. He is fluent in English and French. Titles, styles and honors. Titles and styles. Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. His Excellency Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Crown Prince of Qatar. His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar. Honors: Necklaces of Merit, Member Distinguished Class of the Order of Khalifa, Collar of the Order of Zayed, Grand Cross of the Order of Merit of the Italian Republic, Member First Class of the Order of Nila Utama, Grand Officer of the Order of the Legion of Honor, Collar of the Order of Mubarak the Great. Awards: Oscar Award of Merit, Best Sport Personality in the Arab World in 2006. Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan Medal, Sheikh Essa bin Salman Al Khalifa Medal.